edition of Fit in 10. It is day 26, and I just got out of a really interesting lecture with Dr. Dwayne Jackson. He's the founder of ATP Labs. That is the new line of supplementation that I am carrying. Really good products. Of course, most of the presentation was really some in-depth immune stuff, but we did touch upon a little bit how certain supplements aid with the immune system and our immune response. So very interesting. Anyways, if you guys are interested, let me know. I can put a link up to that presentation as soon as it's released. He's got other presentations too. All right. Hopefully you booked your scan. www.calendly.com/trainonmain. Book your scan so we can see how you are doing. And I'll send out an email about that shortly, because I know there's still some people that have not booked their scan. Also, reminder, send me in your feedback. All you need to do is go to www.trainonmain.com/fit-in-10 check-in and just send me your feedback, okay? Very important. More of your feedback. Let's do it right now. Name something specific you can improve upon for the following week. Having 4 specific meals a day and trying not to snack between. Although I end up meeting my macros at the end of the day, okay, this is great. I don't hit the exact macros at each meal, so I make up for it during parts of the day. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't really see an issue with that. Just make sure, like I said, that you're not having meals that are, a pure carbohydrate meal or a pure fat meal. Well, that would be hard to do, but it's possible, but I can't see you doing it actually. But the point is try to get these meals that have a good amount of protein, some carbohydrates, potentially. You could, have maybe a little bit more carbohydrates earlier in the day and maybe cut them down later in the day. Try not to eat so much at nighttime. And we'll talk about that more in the future, just so you get a good night's sleep. Although there is argument for having more carbohydrates at night to get that release of serotonin to help relax you. But in terms of getting these exact macros every meal, it's not necessary per se. But like I said, getting a good source of protein, complete protein, with some carbohydrate, and typically along with that some fat will come just naturally, is a good idea. Okay, definitely don't have a meal where you don't have any protein. Okay, or meals that are very low in protein and incomplete for that matter. All right. Just remember, if it's an animal-based protein, it's going to be complete. Okay, and that doesn't mean meat per se, right? That could be egg or yogurt or something like that. Protein powder, a whey protein powder, or a beef protein powder. Name something specific you need help with. I liked it when you provided a combo of foods to meet various macros, such as the oatmeal with protein powder and almond milk. So perhaps more ideas such as these types of combos are easy to make and fulfill all the various macros. Yeah, so I know I've already said this, but I'll say it again. Just go through the list of protein strong, fat strong, carbohydrate strong foods, and then make some combinations there. I realize that these are it's very foundational. Like you might see like meat and potato, or or fish and rice. These types of combos that are maybe obvious, or well, maybe they're not totally obvious to you, but they might seem a bit mundane or boring. But of course, adding in spices, or perhaps some condiments, or even some small additives, calorically speaking, like onion, can really spice up a meal and make them that much better. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put together some more options. I did talk about some combinations, obviously that's what you mentioned, but maybe I'll put them in writing and put them into the group. Okay, actually I'm gonna make note of that right now. So protein and carb combos. All right. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in this week's video series? How to eat out at a restaurant and what to order. Yeah, this is not the easiest thing, but it is possible. Since this is something I want to sustain, going out for dinner as part of my lifestyle, I have to eat I have to have some ideas, I'm sorry. I have to have some ideas of what to order at a restaurant. Also, is it okay to save up some macros during the day if I know I'm going to have a glass of wine at night and put it towards the wine? All right, let's talk about the first part here. When you're going to eat out at a restaurant, I recommend that you eat very basic. Get a starch and get some sort of animal flesh, like a steak or chicken or fish or something like this. Just be very careful, though. They tend to add things. When I say the restaurant they tend to add additives. Usually if they're cooking meat, they're going to have it, with some butter over top or something like that. If it's a salad, be very careful what they put in the salad. A lot of these foods or meals that you might think, just by seeing them or just at the outset, you might think, okay, this is really good, this is healthy, might be too calorie dense. They tend to cook these foods in a lot of fats. This is the thing you need to be careful with. So you can always ask them. You can always go to restaurants too. Like I think Earl's does. They've got a calorie, if I'm not mistaken, a calorie amount on their, or maybe that's Cactus Club. I don't know. I don't eat out that often. But if you can go to a restaurant that has these, now hopefully they're accurate. You got to remember, there's a junior cook in the back that's just throwing things together. So, I mean, I know they have certain standards, but again, you kind of have that. So just, I would at the very least, when you order, go with basic foods. Go for an animal flesh, go for a starch or not. Go for a salad, leave the dressing on the side. Keep it very, very basic. If you're doing something like a jambalaya or some sort of mix where they're putting everything together, there's tends to be generally either something of major sugar added and or fat added, and this just throws your calories way up because they want to make it taste good. Okay, so be very, very careful with that. But again, if it's me and I'm eating out at a restaurant and I want to eat clean, I will tend to get something like a steak or maybe some salmon, and I will ask them how they cook it. And if they do cook it, like if they fry it a lot in butter or something like that, there's nothing wrong with butter. It's just the amount of butter that they use. Then I'll try to get something, steamed or baked or something like that, if at all possible in that regard. And of course, a starch. Again, a baked potato, just a plain baked potato. So they don't get them put anything on it or anything like that. And then I can put on whatever I want. Like I can get the butter put on the side, or the sour cream or whatever it is. Okay. Think basic though when you go. Basic. Again, real whole food. I mean, I know this sounds again very, very trite because but the very basic again, like steak and potato. Fish, rice, something like that. Okay. In the future, though, outside of this challenge, maybe you just want to keep it as a reward meal. So you're doing really, really well during the week, give yourself a reward meal. Okay. Wine. Okay, I'm at 8:47. I'm going to talk about wine tomorrow because I need more than a minute to talk about that. Okay. All right, let's get to the message of the day. Message of the day. Don't call it a dream, call it a plan. I will let you know that I have gone through some people's journals, whether they know it or they don't, because I have access to some people's journals. And I can say that people are not planning. And I can also tell you that I see people that do their journals some days and they're okay. I mean, some people are doing the journals and they're really good. And those of you, you should probably know by now who you are, especially if you've been interacting with me and I've given you my feedback. But I have looked at some of you, and I will tell you, I've looked at your journals and there are missing days, and I already know what that means. It means you had a really bad day. So I'm going to remind you that if you, and I know I'm going down a rabbit hole with today's message, but you have to plan if you want to be successful in this. If you want to make a change to your body in a relatively short period of time, if you want to see a major physical change, you have to have everything planned. It's not just a matter of exercising. Okay, I realize I'll say this over and over and over again, and I don't know whether people just don't believe me or they think, oh, they're going to figure out a different way of doing it. Go ahead. But I can tell you won't be successful. It's highly unlikely you're going to be successful. I will bet you pretty much whatever you want that you will not be, okay? So don't call the dream. Don't do this. Don't do any of this. Don't do any of this. Just follow through with what you're supposed to do. And that takes planning. Planning and preparation, of course. And you will be successful. It's just the way it is. You will be successful. If you eat the certain amount of, calories, and more specifically the macros, and you follow the certain amount of exercise, you're going to be successful. There's no two ways about it, okay? There's no magical force working against you. You just have to do it. You just have to do it, okay? Don't call it a dream. Call it a plan. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and I'll talk more on alcohol.